Hello, Newt here once again for L2P, doing another episode for the Warhammer Total War series, the Beastmen, new DLC that's come out. Now, this is a follow-on from the first video that we did, and in that video we began here. I decided to go upwards rather than to the right, but I conquered all these here, conquered all these, kicked all their asses, and an Empire army popped in here, cheeky little twat, and captured these two cities, which I'm going to take back now. So really I'm just going to follow on and tell you what I'm thinking about this DLC so far. If I'm honest with you, not completely thrilled with it. Not a massive fan so far. There's a few things that are irritating and a little bit annoying. I'm finding, if I'm honest with you, that I just would rather be on another campaign. I'm kind of already planning in my head going back to a Dwarven campaign or maybe even a Chaos campaign as I'm playing it, which isn't a good sign. Now, one of the things I'm going to start with is, I suppose it seems to be unique to Beastmen to some extent. Obviously, I mean, you've got the Bestial Rage, which is a new thing. Now, when the Bestial Rage goes up and gets so far, so I think the first bar is this one here, and then it goes further up, you actually spawn what's called a Bray Herd. That Bray Herd is basically an ally that runs around kind of alongside you, but doing its own thing, and it will actually attack enemy armies and try and sack enemy settlements. Now, you can give it direction by using this here, these controls here, but to be honest with you, they seem to do what they want half the time. Now, I'm wondering if a lot of it is to do with the fact that it says here, no, this one here, so it kind of gives you some instruction as to what's going to spawn and how. But it says that they will basically emerge to aid in man's destruction. Now, I had a Bray Herd that ran off chasing an Empire army up here, then got picked off by a Dwarven army. So I'm not sure if kind of chasing the Empire supersedes any instruction you give it. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm finding them quite frustrating because of the limited control you have over them. Now, one reason for that, if they ran around and got killed and it didn't matter, it wouldn't be too bad. But if they do get defeated, it actually has adverse effects on your armies that they spawned from. This was actually almost full. But what happened was, it spawned the Bray army, it went up here, and as I say, it got defeated. It chased an Empire army and got defeated by a Dwarven army. Not sure why or how, because it was pretty much a full roster. I thought I could have took the Dwarven army that attacked it, but they got annihilated. And what that does is it actually has an adverse effect. So as you can see there, it says post Bray Herd Blues. You get that when your army's been defeated, and I think that starts as -6 or -7. So obviously it takes down your Bestial Rage quite quickly, which can be annoying. So you've got to micromanage that with your attrition, or not with your attrition, sorry, but your replenishment. Because replenishment can be a bit of a pain as well. The only time you replenish is two ways I've found so far, is when you're in hidden encampment stance, or when you get Dark Moon, and it's an option you can pick, which I'll show you in a second. What I'm finding is a lot of the enemy factions are using their agents to actually attack your armies while they're stationary and while you're raiding, to actually annihilate your unit roster. Now, I'm not sure what percentage it is, but they take a chunk off or your units, probably like 10 or 8% or something daft like that. So you find yourself sometimes sat in hidden encampment stance when you don't want to be, because you'd rather be in raiding stance to make your Bestial Rage go up and obviously increase your income. Now, looking at income as well, I'm going to go on about that. That's something that's frustrating me as well. I find that unless you're literally raiding one of the capital settlements, the region capital is what I'm looking for there. Unless you're raiding at least one of them, it's very difficult to get this to be the level you need it to be in order to cover your costs. So it kind of forces you then to constantly invade the cities, the settlements around you. But then that screws you over, because then obviously, like what's happened here, is everywhere's conquered, so I have to keep just pushing forward constantly. So I honestly find that quite frustrating from my personal perspective. Obviously it's a personal opinion and you guys might like it, but I'd rather build up settlements. That's just the way I play, so Horde's not my thing anyway. But even with Chaos, you had more options to control your income. Now there are a couple of buildings that can help you out with this one especially. Desecrated Altar, obviously it reduces 50% for all your unit upkeep, so you need to build that by the looks of it with each army. But when you build that, who knows, because it's like, you know, it looks like it's relatively, it's high, you've got to get full level for your Horde encampment before you can even think about building that. So it's going to take you a while to get that, and then you've got to save up 12 grand to get that, and then it's going to hinder your growth, which is going to reduce your ability to build half of these buildings, which is going to limit your unit roster and so on and so forth. So I don't know, I just feel that you get a lot more options with Chaos. I mean, if you look at these here, it's like -10 unit upkeep, -5, -10, -5. That's what the majority of them are. I'm sure with Chaos, if I remember correctly, you had a lot more options, you had a lot more higher values, and you had a couple of units, if I remember as well, where I'm sure that you could get actual currency and resources coming in per turn, which just helped you out a little bit. So population, you have to micromanage your population as well, same as all the other campaigns, so I'm not going to go into that. If you play Total War, you'll know exactly what I mean. It's more or less the same with the settlements, and it's the same with Horde. The units though, on the bright side for the Beastmen, I do enjoy playing the units. Some of the units are really good, they've got some really good animations. One of the Shamans actually can pull one of your artillery units, I can't remember what they're called now, Sagor or something like that, pulls one out of the ground and then he starts hurling boulders at the enemy, which is really cool. Some of the actual other spells are really good as well. I like the Minotaurs, as I mentioned in the first video, they're really cool. Some of the other units are really cool as well. What I would say is they're quite weak, they've not got a lot of armour whatsoever, and it actually appears, I believe from what I've experienced so far, it looks like the Dwarven armies are going to be the ones that Beastmen are going to struggle against the most. Any lesser units, you can use your Minotaurs to literally plough through the front lines, but when you come against a Dwarven army, they can quite strongly hold the line against you, which can be frustrating as well, especially if they've got flamer units, because they annihilate you as well because of your limited armour. So I'm going to do some PvP battles going forward to show you what works for Beastmen against other races and what other races can do to counteract Beastmen. So far I think it's really going to be the Dwarves that are going to be the race to go to counteract any Beastmen army. They're the ones I've struggled against the most. But PvP wise and other probably mods, if they bring out a mod to do Beastmen as a proper campaign, that'll probably be really cool actually. I'd like to see that, and if I do see one I probably will jump on that and give it a go. But so far the Horde campaign for Beastmen is not impressing me massively. More to follow, as I say, I'll do some PvP videos as well. But give us a thumbs up if you like the review, and if there's anything else you want to see, give me a shout, and we'll do some more videos. Thanks for your time.